For the spiritually endowed, we're communicating with each other. We're with each other right now. There's no distance, there's no space, there's no place. Even bodies don't exist. All spiritual people, they're in a room together. There's one presence, one person. You know exactly what I mean. It's the same when you were in love. Or I was on the way to the gym here. I was driving down, and there was all these crazy people walking across the supermarket, and cars slamming, and there's a nice young lady with a baby walking in a stroller right through the middle of it, and she's just looking down, smiling at the infant's face, just like this beatific smile to make the infant feel safe in the midst of all this travail, right? And there is a heavenly Father that we have that is the presence we feel between us. We're spiritual presence. We're not our bodies or our problems or the solution to our problems. We're made of light and air and kindness. And the actual God of eternity moves through us all day, every day, in ways that are quite mystical. There is a God that's with us 25 hours a day that the spiritually endowed are aware of. We can feel it under every condition, the presence of it. We're not affrighted by anything. We're right in the middle of it. Not that we don't feel it, not that we're not concerned when things are out of whack, but the basic point of today's divine thought with us all is that you can become so clear, so pure, so clean, that you don't need, want, or desire whatsoever, and that all the calamity that happens in our life at different times of the day and evening and night, the divine presence kind of filters through us, and we work out all the day's damage, as it were. It's like divine sunscreen. It's called psychic, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, the gifts and powers, they talk about it in the Orient. You will be able to overcome any adversary, any enemy, because the whole projection of the world being a physical rather than a spiritual existence, that's the drama that will end on your watch, permanently, forever. It need not be. These words would sound clownish to the everyday person, but you're not the everyday person. You are the light. You're the presence of heaven. If you know this throughout your life, you'll entertain angels throughout your life because you are an angelic presence. In a hellacious environment, I'm not discounting that fact, I'm saying that no matter what, you'll wake up in the middle of the night, no matter what travail you've gone through that day, and there'll be a presence where you'll see in a much deeper light. And you'll have what in the Orient again they called gifts and powers. You'll have the ability to figure out what and where and who with an exactitude that has nothing to do with the physical world, but something in your heart and soul will discern, will decipher, and will decide right from wrong. You're here to judge the world, as it says in the scripture. I say that with lightness because that's why you're here, to end it. Those gifts and powers are magnificent and wonderful. And it might hit you for 10 seconds here and there while you're walking to wherever. It might, for me, most nights I'm filled with it. And then in between there's whatever the havoc of the day is. I got to deal with work, with many, many people, and different thoughts and conceptions. There's always some sort of emotional give and take between people, arguments, and as a spiritual person, we're in the middle of it all. We're always fixing it, and that's okay. The point is, you'll have many, many visitations every day, sometimes for seconds, moments, sometimes for hours, and you'll decide right from wrong, and you will change everything. in your environment. You'll take control completely. In saying this, we are unimaginably humble. People ask you what you do or not when you're in a situation where you're considered everyone's daddy or mommy or the spiritual teacher or the best friend, and you say, oh, I'm just there to help, you know what I mean? But so the point is that as spiritual presences, we're so humble that we really don't believe in ourselves. Does that make sense? In the physical world, because we're not meant to, because we're not here, because nothing is here. We've never been here. You've always been this presence, no more, no less. And this presence is precious and wonderful, not precious in delicate, precious in heavenly, ungodly purity, beauty, and kindness. All the physical world simply is not interesting. That's why the monks and the nuns will go off and they don't have love partners or this or that, even though they'll have love in their heart, but a pure heart. It's a much richer existence to be spiritual than to be caught up in the everyday give and take. It's like an older person understands life more fully, more richly, and they're just there for their grandchildren, for whatever, because they understand that it's not their drive to become wealthy, powerful, it's the drive becomes to care, to uplift, and that's part of the spiritual stream of consciousness that runs through all people that I'm attempting to express to us today, to know that you have the capacity within you to change everything, and I mean everything, socially, politically, family, love life, all of it. You just have to stay deep in your practice, and it will come to you, and it will come to you, and it will come to you. It takes a very pure, delicate kind of intelligence to be here. That's why we're wrapped in awe when we read great literature, or see great art, or achieve something with great dexterity. We're, oh my God, this refinement of our sensory equipment is more in alignment with the purity that we experience of God all day. Again, we're all spiritual people. To try to express these things about gifts and powers to the everyday person would sound using psychic gifts or powers over someone like it. No, we are not our body. We know we're not our body. We're always in awe of that which should not really be named. And we're never entranced by the everyday happenings, are we? For myself, I have zero interest in sports and so forth, even though we're deeply involved in martial arts here and so forth, and that's wonderful, and I love it where it is, and whatever way you use to enhance your perception of life and make you more peaceful, loving, kind, and a part of a spiritual community, then that's wonderful. But beyond that, the utter joy we feel, the simplicity, the purity, the awe-inspiring thrills that we feel 24 hours a day as spiritual presences. And in the midst of that, these gifts and powers arise day and night. I'm trying to explain something that is inexplicable, but there, the point is that we have the very power of God in our heart to decide right from wrong, to change anything in our environment, any person, any thought, any social, political event, or trying, and sometimes it takes years, but when you get very, very deep in your practice, you'll be able to end all the tragedy of the world forever and ever. Just keep sitting back in your practice, being aware, being quiet, drifting, caring. You'll have a deep, deep sense of caring. And it will transcend any fear or any havoc in your life. You'll see who and what tried to set your sensory equipment up to be concerned about something. There's nothing to be concerned about. You'll walk through walls because there are no walls, there are no places, there are no bodies. Time never was to the spiritually endowed. That's you. You are your presence, not your body. The whole idea of the Garden of Eden is as soon as you think there are two bodies, that's the problem. As long as two people believe they are a body, there will be war. So that's why love takes you beyond that. Appreciation of beauty takes you beyond that. You walk into nature and it's there unasked, and it takes the whole world away from you. It's a place where God kind of meets all good hearts. Nature, love, kindness. But beyond that, there is an actual spiritual realm that is eternity. And all spiritual people live in that place. And all spiritual people have the ability today, tonight, and tomorrow morning to end everything. Just trust God. Realize that God is, there are 8 billion people in the world. God is inside, conscious of every thought, every perception every person has right now. But all of it's the same calamity. It shouldn't be. So our job is to lift our friends and loved ones to this plane of beingness where all is well. And from that we shoot off like shooting stars to interstellar spiritual space. All day and night, all spiritual people are aware of this. The main point trying to be expressed right now is from this day on, from now on, you'll have within you the gift of divine sight, of holiness, of purity, of truth. And you'll be aware that you're God's finger touch through the world to change the hearts, souls, minds, and bodies of your loved ones, to lift, to heal, to cleanse, to correct, to beautify, purify, everything and everyone that you find worthy, that you within your heart, you're God's instrument from this moment on eternally. And that's been the battle you've had from birth here, right? We're all like, no, you are God's emissary. You're the pure light. You are the rock of ages. It's not someone else. We're like a well-lit space. There is like a little white lines moving through us that are the very presence of God. Like imagine shooting stars shooting through you, but they're made of spirit. And that's you, and those lines will be lines of discernment. You'll decide right from wrong. You will decide. And these gifts and powers will move through us 24 hours a day. You'll have them many, many times in the middle of the night, and you can have a very rough day, or some body strain, or disorder, or digestion, or whatever, and yet all of a sudden in the middle of it, boom, these well-lit glances from God through us of what's happening in our life. We're all working together to improve the lives and to maintain the sanctity of the hearts and souls of those that you find worthy. It's up to you. God's presence and thought and mind are freely given to you. You'll decide right and wrong, and these pure gifts will move through you. And a lot of it's quite emotional and psychological. You've got 3 or 4 people fighting and a business around you or a family, and you have to see right and wrong, and sometimes you'll be angry at someone and straighten them out, but it's in your heart. You don't have to leave your easy chair. You never have in reality. Knowing this first, that of course body consciousness is the enemy of the true light. And that's why it's been so hard from birth for you to figure right and wrong. It's just placed on you. You volunteered for this, I have to make that clear, to be here at this point. And now that you've got all the conditioning of the world on you, and yet look right through it, you realize that that's the trick we have to teach those we love and find worthy. That the world itself is that which has been called hell. Understand? So all perception of physicality, of motion, time, space, weight, it's all, that's the illusion. And I say this laughingly because it's, of course, we're always transcendent of it, we always look through it. And that's why true love or perception of anything that involves beauty, it takes us a step away from the world. It's like a piece of gold. It's hard to obtain and hard to hold, right? That's how precious your heart is to God. And from here on in, please accept this fully. Your heart is God. You'll overcome the entire world. You'll cleanse, you'll heal, you'll beautify, you'll purify, you'll help, you'll assist, you'll back up all the good hearts and souls around you. You know how to heal almost everyone. And when there are dark forces or beings in it, or satanic, I'm laughing because you won't have to fear anything. The whole point is to get to the crux of the matter and find the dark force itself in the center of it that sends out all these beings and false personalities and all those that act up. You're going to clean up the neighborhood. You're God's presence. You are a holiness. We've all lived through the same madness, the conditioning process of being here. And you did that to understand so you can communicate to the wonderful people that are here. And more than communicate, heal 1,000%. All those you love and care and respect. And the everyday conditions, the social conditions, whatever they might be. If you think, oh, that's too big to handle it, that's not a spiritual person thinking, is it? You look through it all the time. That's why we sit off in a corner at a gathering, don't we? Because we're not part of the everyday melange, are we? You will be, you are from here on in, God's very presence. And it's something simple. We're so humble, but that's why we're that. God is humble. And is God. You're humble. And God will work through us to end all the madness. Please accept the gift. It's perfect. You are God's perfect gift to a lost generation. You will end all the madness forever. That's your destiny. It will keep coming to you. You don't need any more words. Thank you for being you. Thank you.